we've got some breaking news to pass along out of the NBA.
Okay.
Also interesting. There has been a fairly significant trade that has just gone down. No, it did not involve the Golden State Warriors.
Trades are hard.
Yeah, here's who it did involve. The Cleveland Cavaliers, Denver Nuggets, and the Clippers have agreed on a 3-team trade that will send Peyton Watson to the Cavaliers, Max Strus to the Los Angeles Clippers, and an unprotected 2031 Cavaliers first-round pick and a 2032 Kings second-rounder to the Nuggets. I can only imagine that the Kings pick had already been traded. That's why it is now under the control of another team.
Other reports are saying this is eventually going to be a 5-team deal, but there's probably just going to be smaller pieces on the sides. Watson
gets a new 4-year, $88 million deal to join the Cavaliers. Also gets a player option and a trade kicker. Watson gets his money. But again, this involves Cleveland, Denver, and the Clippers. Peyton Watson goes to the Cavs and gets a new 4-year, $88 million deal. Max Strus goes to L.A., and the 2031 Cavs first-rounder and a 2032 Kings second-rounder go to the Nuggets. I think clearly the Warriors-related question that comes out of this is, how does Nikola Jokic feel about this deal?
Yeah, I wonder the long-term future for Nikola Jokic when you look at this deal. And so Denver gets a great first-round pick, which is going to be when Nikola Jokic is 33, 4 years from now, or actually more than, 4 years from now, will be when that pick actually lands. And so Denver's not completely stripping the thing down to its studs, but they're definitely trying to reshuffle things and move pieces around. I don't know if it is to give Jokic all the money he wants, but if you are Nikola Jokic, you're not looking at the roster right now in this moment and think, yeah, we got better.
No, it's already not good enough.
Right.
And now it gets worse. So, yeah, I don't know where this goes. If you looked at it like a parlay card, the idea of, for example, let's be fun for a second, Jokic joining the Golden State Warriors. He's the next big-time free agent, and the Warriors are going to have all of this cap space, right? Well, if the idea of Jokic joining the Warriors was a 10-team parlay, this is only the second game. That's kind of how I would view it. But it's not good news for those who want to see Jokic stay in Denver. I have no idea where he would end up. I still think that he probably will end up in Denver. There's a lot of ways for this to go, but the Nuggets right now, clearly not good enough. And if you think about what they've been doing the last few years, it just reeks of stuff going on underneath the belly of it all that I don't really understand. This is a team that fired their coach right before they were heading into the playoffs. And now here's a situation that unfolds with Peyton Watson that just dragged almost all the way to training camp. And now off he goes to the Cavs for 4 years, $88 million. The Cavaliers still have the James Harden thing sitting out there. They were hot after LeBron, didn't get him. We would be remiss if we didn't bring up the name Jonathan Kuminga here also, because I know that the Cavaliers were one of the teams reportedly looking at JK. This certainly affects that and maybe gives us a little bit of a breadcrumb as to why Jonathan is still unsigned as we approach September here, which is shocking, quite frankly. But anyway, the next domino to fall, if you will, and a significant move.
No doubt. And if you look at Denver's situation based on, salary and just salary alone, you probably couldn't afford to keep Peyton Watson anyway, because you've got the Joker who's making 59, Jamal Murray's making 50, Aaron Gordon's making almost 34.
Yeah.
Cameron Johnson's making 23, and Christian Braun is starting a 5-year deal worth 125. So Denver is kind of up against it financially. And so if you've got Peyton Watson and he needs that new money, and he does, I don't know if they could even afford to fit him into the picture.
It's only going to serve also, I think, for the Warrior fan base to still continue to feel left out. I mean, that's really what we're talking about here with the Warrior offseason.
Like, why couldn't the Warriors have done this?
Well, this doesn't even make any sense for the Warriors to be involved in something like this. But I do think with all of the PR efforts and the conversation that's gone on this offseason, I've sort of arrived at a spot where I understand why the Warriors feel the way they do and why fans feel the way they do. The Warriors are coming at this whole thing from a very logical standpoint. They're looking at this and they're trying to pitch to everybody two things. A, will you please trust us? We've done some really good things the last decade and a half. Will you please just trust us? And then secondly, they're trying to pitch the idea of, I know you wanted movement, but we're not doing movement just for the sake of movement. If you whittle down each maneuver that we made, the right thing to do was to kind of stand pat and hold on to our flexibility. You don't have to agree with that, but that's what the Warriors are trying to pitch. From a fan standpoint, there's no rationale to it at all. It's just we feel left out. It feels to a fan like there was a big party and they didn't get invited.
Right, and they didn't even think to reach out and try to get that invite. You know, they might have tried to get Giannis, and they didn't. And Jaylen Brown, turned out he went somewhere, and the package that they got was something that Warrior fans think that you could have actually ponied up and gotten. I don't believe that because Paul George can play, and right now Jimmy Butler can't. So there was a little sense, I think, among fans of, FOMO, the fear of missing out, and you are missing out. And so some of these deals that have happened, you feel like, why couldn't we have been a part of it? And you're right about this particular one. It doesn't seem like Peyton Watson would have fit in what you're trying to do because he's getting, $25 million a year now in his new deal, and you can't afford to do that. You're already pressed up against it.
Got one more roster spot, right?
Right, yeah.
One more roster spot? Two more.
And Mike Dunleavy said the plan is to use them both, unlike last year when they went in with only 14 men. Because they're going to be without Butler and Moody for at least a big chunk of the season. Another piece of news really quick. This comes from Chris Haynes. He says the Denver Nuggets are pivoting and have their eyes directed on 6-time All-Star DeMar DeRozan. So it hasn't happened yet.
He's still out there.
But it looks like maybe DeRozan may ultimately be a Nugget after this trade gets finalized.
Okay. There you go. I mean, keep on moving.
At the risk of just, come on. Give him a call. Kiss and make up.
Kuminga?
Yeah.
No chance.
Of course not.
But, I don't know what's going on with Kuminga.
Make the case why you wouldn't, though.
You wouldn't because he wouldn't, and you wouldn't because you wouldn't.
I don't know that to be true.
I don't think that the Warriors would, and honestly, what would that look like? So you bring back Kuminga on the minimum, and then you just repeat the whole thing of, you're not going to play him. And I don't know.
Okay, listen, I'm being completely tongue-in-cheek. But I do bet that, if you really wanted to open your mind, I bet I could make a case that for both sides it would actually be a good thing. That you're right. They won't do it. The experience was too weird, and the egos and all of the things that go into it. So, I'm being tongue-in-cheek. I just want to put that out. But I do think, I could make the case that if you all really could put everything aside, I bet I could make a case that it would be good for both parties. And one thing that I will say, wouldn't it stand to reason that Jonathan's a different person now? Would look at things differently. How about that? Not a different person. I don't know Jonathan.
Is he a different player, though, is the thing?
Wouldn't it make sense that Jonathan would view all of this through a different lens now?
You would figure, not that he needed to be humbled. I don't think that he did, but this has been very humbling to go from where he was trying to get a contract with the Warriors, and you wait until the very, very end, and you get a 1+1, and then you get dealt, and then you go to Atlanta, and they don't pick up your option, and you're thinking, okay, I'll go out there and get free agent dollars. I'll get $20 million a year somewhere, and here we are in mid-August, getting close to late August, and he hasn't gotten an offer that he's wanted to accept. And we heard talk of maybe it'd be the Lakers and it'd be $10 million a year.
Yeah.
And, that was either there or not there. And now as we sit, it seems like any offer that he would get is going to be less than $10 million a year. Less than Quentin Post money.
You would think, yeah. And the Lakers are embroiled in their own mess. I don't know what the hell all is going on in Los Angeles right now with all these Mark Walter things, but that's neither here nor there. I guess that would be my curiosity. That would be my curiosity. I would love to know because we were all so uber focused on it, and everybody had their sides and their arguments related to Jonathan Kuminga. And Joe Lacob even said on that TK appearance not too long ago, we didn't handle some things right, and he didn't handle some things right. And I think everybody can comfortably move on with that. But don't you think that, A, joining the Atlanta Hawks, which is filled with, much younger players who are not mentors, who have not achieved a lot. You saw the way C.J. McCollum talked about him. So Jonathan experiences that and then gets kind of tossed aside by the organization. They opt out of his contract and then don't show really any interest in bringing him back at all. So you used the word humbled. I don't want to say that his ego was out of whack or whatever, but that's what I'm betting. I bet that the entire experience might have adjusted a little bit on how he views the league, himself, the experience he had with the Warriors. I would bet that it has. I
would agree with you, but that doesn't mean that he's going to come here on a minimum and be the kind of player that they want him to be.
Doesn't mean that at all.
I think that the biggest issue with Jonathan Kuminga as a Warrior was the way he played did not jibe with the way that they wanted him to play. Now, can he suddenly come in and be that guy? Absolutely. There were times that Kuminga played great and he played well in the way that the Warriors wanted him to play. But I think, by and large, the player that Jonathan Kuminga is doesn't really fit with what the Warriors are looking for in that spot.
You could have him mentor Yaxel.
Sure. Yeah, because that'd work out great.
Yeah.
They're the same age, basically. And Kuminga might be a tiny bit older.
I think he's younger. Isn't Yaxel? Yaxel is either 24 or he's about to be, right? Who's younger, Jonathan or Yaxel? Jonathan is 23. Oh, he's turning 24 October 6th. When does Yaxel turn 24? It's close. Yeah, you might be right. He might be just a smidge. Ooh, he turns... No, Yaxel's like a week older.
Yeah, there you go. So who's going to mentor whom? Whom, by the way.
Yeah. I never understood who and whom.
Yeah, we've been through this.
I know.
We're not going to get to it again.
No, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I just want to say who.